color, and shape take on a new dimension at the San Jose Museum of Art. Join us as we celebrate tomorrow's grand opening of the museum's new facility in this special sneak preview, live from downtown San Jose. Brought to you by American Airlines and American Express.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Doug Moore.
I'm Maggie Skura.
And welcome to the San Jose Museum of Art grand opening preview. And a very exciting evening here in downtown San Jose. In the next hour, we're going to give you a look at this wonderful new facility.
Doug and I are standing right now in the new lobby of this new facility. The members of the San Jose Museum of Art are enjoying, and I think that's the operative word here, enjoying a wonderful reception, a big party tonight to preview this new building and its art exhibit, actually before the museum opens up to the public tomorrow.
And as I said, we're going to take you on a preview tonight, so we hope you'll stay tuned.
That's right. Let's join Terry McSweeney now. He's with us on this program. He's in one of the new galleries, and let's see what he has to show us. Terry?
Well, thank you, Doug and Maggie. This is one of the main galleries in the lower level of the new addition, and this is where the grand opening's feature exhibit is being shown. Now, the new building is a 45,000 square foot addition to the Museum of Art. That more than doubles the museum's exhibition space. Next year, the museum's older building will be 100 years old, and it has a colorful past all its own.
It's a nationally registered historic landmark, but many San Jose locals remember when the gracious building at Market and San Fernando Streets was home to the San Jose Public Library. And fewer of us remember its original use. It was built in 1892 as San Jose's first genuine government-owned post office. Until that time, post offices in San Jose occupied rented quarters, often in a small back room of a retail or office building. The new post office owed its shape and its color to the great blocks of sandstone brought in from a nearby quarry. The building was completed in 1895 at a cost of just over $175,000. The post office survived the 1906 earthquake, though not entirely intact. Its spired clock tower crumbled. Repairs after the damage did not include replacing that spire, which left the clock tower with that squared-off appearance we recognize today. By 1933, San Jose had outgrown its new post office, and stacks of mail were replaced with stacks of books. The middle-aged building gracefully adapted from its role as a sending institution to a lending institution. But the library, too, soon outgrew its space within the sandstone walls. And in 1971, the post office turned library took another turn. It became the San Jose Museum of Art. It wasn't long before the museum experienced the same growing pains felt by the building's first two occupants. But instead of moving, the museum decided to expand. In 1987, former San Jose Mayor Janet Gray Hayes assumed leadership as president and helped spur the museum's growth. More than just ground was broken when construction began on the museum's new 45,000 square foot addition in June of 1988. San Jose was breaking into its own as a city soon to have a reputable art museum, large enough to accommodate major exhibitions. Museum director Michael Danoff.
As handsome as that older building is, it just isn't large enough to serve our purposes. And then also, it isn't equipped in the same way as the new building. As the new building has state-of-the-art features like the proper humidity control. Most people wouldn't have any way of knowing this, but to have constant humidity is extremely important for works of art. And actually what happens in the museum profession is that when you borrow an important work of art from another institution, you have to sign off that you will observe certain criterion and stay within certain guidelines of temperature and humidity, etc. So things like that in our security system and our shipping and receiving dock are all state-of-the-art in the new facility and will simply enable us to do a great deal more than we were able to do in this building. And it's also a very, very beautiful space to be in, and that's kind of wonderful for the community also. I think it's going to feel just like going into a major museum in any major city, only better than most of them. I think that museums actually, for some reason, are often seen as symbols of the city. Symbols of the city. It's hard to think of what most people would think of as a great metropolis, as a great large urban area. It's hard to think of it and not to think that its assets Its assets must include its museums, its orchestras, its operas, etc. If you think of all the great cities of the world, they all have great art museums, and clearly this is a great, thriving, remarkable metropolis. And I think now that we have a physical plant, a large facility, a handsome one, that will allow people to have the same type of opportunities for enrichment and diversity in the exhibitions and quality of the exhibitions that they would find in any major city anywhere. And I think that it will make people feel that San Jose even is a few notches further along in its growth and development.
Michael Danoff was recruited from the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago and came to San Jose in October of 1988. The museum's expansion plans were a major attraction.
Lots of things have happened here that are very meritorious over the past 20 years, but certainly with an addition that more than doubles the exhibition space that we have, it's almost like having a new institution, and it's a wonderful creative opportunity.
Opportunity knocked for the Art Museum when the City of San Jose and the Redevelopment Agency agreed to contribute $7 million toward the $14 million expansion project. An additional $3 million has been contributed by individuals and corporations, and about $4 million remains to be raised.
The new building addition is just really wonderful. The buildings can often overwhelm the works of art, and I thought that since museums are often intimidating enough for most people, that having a building that was warm and welcoming and just felt good to be in, as this one looked on paper it would be, was a big attraction. And it's worked out even better than I was able to envision it from the drawings. This wonderful historical building from the 1890s is wedded very comfortably with a contemporary structure, and right from entering the lobby, I think that that's apparent to people, because what was the exterior wall of the old building as you're entering the stairs continues right on and becomes the interior wall of the new building. And there's a piece of the new building, new wall, that when you enter becomes the inside wall of this new entranceway as well. So in the entranceway especially, you can feel the old and the new coming together very harmoniously. I think when people walk up the steps of a museum, and perhaps even more so when they enter the lobby, it gives them a mental set immediately of what their experience is going to be like. And the way that the traditional and the contemporary are brought together architecturally, and the way also it's welcoming and it's warm, the use of natural materials, the granite, the sandstone, the wood in very warm tones, I think that just makes a kind of user-friendly setting that put people in a very receptive frame of mind for getting in touch with the experiences that the works of art have to speak to them about.
This really is an exciting new building for the San Jose Museum of Art. Easy for me to say. Right now, let's send it to Maggie, who I hear has made her way upstairs to one of the galleries up there. Maggie.
That's right, Terry. Thank you. You were talking about what an interesting and beautiful building this is. I am upstairs from the lobby in a beautiful skylight gallery. Now, I know saying the word skylight, you say, oh, let's see the effect. It's kind of hard because this is live and it's at night right now, folks. But earlier, the evening light was just streaming in here. It's quite beautiful, and I hope you'll all come out and see it starting tomorrow. And in this gallery, visitors are getting to see a little preview of a Rodin exhibit, a beautiful 47 bronzes by Rodin. We'll tell you more about them a little bit later in our program. Now, getting all of this artwork ready for exhibit is no small task, as you can imagine. Our camera crews were on hand here earlier in the month when the artwork for the principal exhibition arrived, and Deborah Norberg, the museum's registrar, walks us through that delicate process.
We were receiving a shipment for the main show for our opening, Compassion and Protest, Recent Social and Political Art from the Eli Broad Family Foundation. So these works were done in LA. They were packed at LA Packing and Crating. They came from the Broad Foundation. Some of them had existing crates. Some of them had to have crates built. And then they came up on a climate-controlled truck from LA. Were loaded yesterday at LA Packing, and then it's next day delivery up here. So our crew was unloading the pieces off the truck. These will now sit and acclimatize for several days in their wrapping so they can get used to the climate. This is a climate-controlled area, but we want them to adjust through their wrappings, and then we will be uncrating or unwrapping them next week and beginning installation. So I have my checklist, and I'm independently verifying that everything that was loaded on the truck and supposed to arrive did arrive, and then Rich and I try to see as the artwork is moved that it's moved in the safest way possible. And we have a very good crew that works well together, so it makes our job easier in assuring that it's moved safely. Because art is at its most vulnerable point when being moved. We know ahead of time what all the pieces look like, and we have slides and photographs, and Rich and I have both looked at those, so we will know what kind of piece we're opening up, and we'll be uncrating them and moving them probably onto blankets or pads. Anytime any artwork is touched directly, we'll be wearing white cotton gloves. The preparator from the Broad Foundation is coming up to help tell us about what he knows about the physical logistics of some of the pieces. Some come in pieces and have to be put together in certain ways. Each piece, there are very different kinds of pieces in this show, and some have different hanging mechanisms. So as we unpack them, Rich and I sit down and think through the order of what makes the most sense. What do we want to unpack first, and what's maybe the most difficult to install? We'll think through the installation schedule and unpack accordingly.
As preparator, my job is to oversee the entire installation process from beginning to end, and implement the gallery design which we've functioned and created over the course of the couple months prior to the installation. This involves beginning with the construction of our walls in our overall design, getting those painted and prepped for the artwork which arrives. Usually arrives in trucks over on the loading dock. We bring the crates into the gallery, and at that point lay out blankets throughout the gallery and place the artwork around the gallery before it actually is hung. What we'll do next, beyond this point here, is to hold up the various pieces simultaneously along the wall, see how they work with each other and with the space we've created for them. And once that's determined, we'll put our markings on the wall and hang the pieces.
Well, I think it's a side that the public rarely sees, not that they should see. I mean, if it's well done, people shouldn't be aware of it. The art just sort of appears on the wall or appears in place. But it's a side that absorbs a great deal of staff time and a great deal of cost, because shipping and creating of art is very costly if it's done correct. And it's a fascinating side, I find, as registrar, but a little nerve-wracking at times.
Now, that was just a small part of the many weeks the museum staff has worked to prepare all of the exhibits for us to enjoy. When we come back, the cutting of the spectacular, and I mean spectacular, grand opening cake, which was especially created by the Fairmont Hotel's pastry chefs. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm Doug Moore, and welcome back to this live preview of the San Jose Museum of Art. Joining me now is Michael Danoff, the museum director, and got a great turnout tonight, Michael.
Doug, we really do. I guess it's the place to be.
Well, everybody's really excited, and from what I've seen here tonight, the reaction has been very positive.
We're really thrilled. It's a celebration of art is really what it is, and getting so much pleasure from art.
Well, this means a lot to the city of San Jose, especially the downtown area.
I think there'll be a lot of people who will be coming here from all over the country, as a matter of fact, and also as far as citizens, first and foremost.
Well, on behalf of KNTV, the San Jose News Channel, the sponsors of this program, American Express and American Airlines, I would like to present you with this membership donation to the museum. You can grab that envelope right there, so we'll get you started in the right direction.
That's wonderful. I'll share with our with the president of our board, Jim Compton.
Jim Compton's with us.
It's very gracious.
We got a very special cake here. Why don't you explain what this is?
It's a chocolate cake, courtesy of the Fairmont Hotel, and what it really shows is the historical building, which was from 1892, originally a post office, then a library, and then this 45,000 square foot beautiful addition, even with our banners in orange and yellow in chocolate.
And it's all chocolate. Under these hot lights, we've been afraid it's going to melt out here, but it's been holding up fairly well. Why don't you gentlemen do the honors for us, okay?
Here we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Ready, go.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Well, it's official now. They're no coming back. Thank you, Michael. Again, congratulations on this great wing and on the whole museum.
Thank you. A toast to our members and to art.
Okay. We're going to go upstairs right now to Terry McSweeney and one of the galleries upstairs. Terry, take it away.
Well, actually, I'm still down here on the lower level, and the artwork here is all contemporary art, what the museum calls The Art of Our Time. The feature exhibition is titled Compassion and Protest, and it contains recent social and political art loaned to the museum by Eli Broad, an important art collector in Southern California. Museum Director Michael Danhoff talks now about this feature exhibit and the museum's focus on contemporary art.
The mission of the museum is to present today's art, contemporary art from the region, the nation, and abroad. That's the primary mission. Our focus is on today's art because in Silicon Valley there's a proud history of innovation, and so much of contemporary art is about innovation, and it's the way the future is going to know what it felt like to live in our times. Just like when we go to a museum and look at the art of the past, we know what it felt like to live in those times and what those times are about. But even the old master collections in other museums, let's say for example, great paintings by Renoir or Monet, Van Gogh. In many museums, those works of art were collected when those artists were still alive, and now they've become the masterworks. But originally, they were contemporary art. So we're very eager to have this community become engaged in collecting contemporary art, so that the future masterworks of our time and place can be in the San Jose Museum of Art. Well, the opening exhibits indicate some of the richness of variety that a larger space and one that's properly equipped allows us to do. Since our focus is on today's art, the art of our time, the principal exhibition that we spent our time organizing is an exhibition that looks at what we think is the most exciting phenomenon in art today. It's not the only phenomenon, because it's a very complex society, but we think that where most of the action is at, where most of the conversation is at, what most of the articles are about, what interests rising artists to the greatest extent is art which addresses social and political issues. The opening exhibition is a show which surveys, the principal show surveys social and political art primarily from the United States. And fortunately, all of the work in that exhibition comes from one vast and extraordinary collection, one of the most famous private collections of contemporary art in the world, the collection of Eli Broad. In fact, it's so extensive that he even has a foundation building which houses a portion of it in Santa Monica. So here it's on display for the public. In order to give people some handles on the art, we have text panels, introductory text panels, that give some idea regarding what the art means, what the experience of the art is. And those texts are available in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And likewise, the audio tape tours that people can take of the museum are also available in those three languages. And we have our professionally trained tour guides, or docents, who are there also to work with the public and work with visitors, usually groups, but individuals as well, to help give them some insight into the art that's there to enrich them. There's a very important publication that accompanies that exhibition. There are essays on each of the artists in the show, but the catalog is written in a way that anybody can understand it. And because the exhibition is on social and political art and addresses issues which are known to all of us, that have a lot to do with everyday life, it will actually have very broad appeal, I think.
The really neat thing about the catalog is that we've co-published for the first time with one of the world's foremost art book publishers, Abbeville Press, and that's a real coup for us.
And what's wonderful about that is that even though this particular exhibition will not travel, that publication will travel. When you go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, you'll see that publication in their store. What the San Jose Museum of Art has been engaged in doing in many ways is trying to establish itself as an institution of national importance. The best way to have the brightest and strongest future for the museum would be to emphasize the present. So right from the start, we developed a different take on the exhibition program and on what we were doing with adult education, and how we were basically presenting to the museum, to the community, with a belief that we needed to make it clear to people that we were uncompromising in our level of quality, that what we would bring to the museum would be what they could expect to see in any major metropolitan city anywhere, but yet with a flavor specific to this place and this region.
A lot of people down here taking in compassion and protest this evening, and one of them is Peggy Skinner. She is Santa Clara Valley born and raised, a San Jose resident. And what do you think of the exhibit, what you've seen so far?
What I've seen? Oh, I like it. This room is a little different. It's pretty overpowering and kind of frightening if you're talking about this room in here, because it's very graphic, I think. It's almost scary.
But you were mentioning that there's some things here that you've seen that you like very much.
Oh, yes. The whole exhibit has been really nice. Particularly, I like in the lobby, they have this, it's called the Bookmobile. And it's really interesting, and if you read the history behind it, it makes a lot of sense. And I think people are going to enjoy it when they come in, and then from up above they can see down at the Bookmobile. It's quite fascinating.
You going to be coming back quite a bit?
Yes, I plan to. I want to bring my children, and we plan to stay members of the museum.
Peggy, thank you very much. Enjoy the exhibit. Right now, let's send it back to Maggie and Doug.
Thank you, Terry, and we are upstairs. As you can hear music behind me, it's a wonderful celebration of the visual arts and the musical arts. It's a lovely evening here. We're going to tell you a little bit about some of the fine people who have helped this evening come about by preparing the Art Museum and lending it some exhibits. Eli and Edith Broad are among the world's most prominent collectors of contemporary American art. The museum's inaugural exhibition is actually on loan from the Eli Broad Family Foundation collection, which is based down in Santa Monica. Now, Mr. Broad was in San Jose last night, and he helped celebrate the museum's opening.
Well, the Eli Broad Family Foundation was founded 7 years ago, and its purpose is to build a collection of contemporary art of the last fourth of this century and make it available for loan to museums in the United States and overseas. Museums have tight budgets with limited corporate funding today for museums, limited government funding, and really don't have money to purchase too many works of art. This is a great new addition for San Jose, and I think will stand its citizens and the city in great stead, and we're delighted to be part of it and delighted to be able to lend our paintings and have them seen by a much broader audience than they otherwise would be.
Thanks again to both Eli and Edith Broad for their contribution. When we come back, we will take a closer look at the wonderful Rodin sculptures that you see in the gallery behind me, and we'll also be meeting one of the San Jose artists who was commissioned to create a different kind of bookmobile for the new museum's lobby area. Stay with us.
And welcome back, everyone. I'm Doug Moore. We're celebrating the new wing of the San Jose Museum of Art. Again, this is the preview tonight. The official opening takes place tomorrow. And the good news is that admission is free, both tomorrow and Sunday. So this weekend, plan to get down here and take this in. It's a wonderful building. We're going to Maggie Skira now in one of the new galleries. Maggie.
Thanks again, Doug. We teased you with this a little bit before, but now another popular exhibit during the museum's grand opening celebration is this collection of Rodin bronzes in the Skylight Gallery. Museum Director Michael Danoff explains how this special loan came about.
We are very fortunate to have these 47 Rodin bronzes from Stanford, and Albert Elson, Dr. Albert Elson, who's one of Stanford's most distinguished professors and one of the world's great art historians. It was an idea that came up in conversation with him, and he and the museum are most gracious to lend those objects to us. Stanford University underwent some damage, of course, during the last earthquake, and the museum was closed for some time. And it's a wonderful sort of opportunity for exchange, that by showing those Rodin bronzes here, it's something that we can offer our community. But because Stanford University is not all that far away, it allows Dr. Elson and his students to have access to those works of art. So it worked out very, very well, and we're thrilled with their graciousness in this offer and opportunity. So this is some indication of all the variety and array that we can do in a larger facility, and one that has the kind of temperature and humidity controls and security controls that are required to do art of that value.
I couldn't help but walk around and just lasso one of the patrons here this evening. Leslie Brooks is joining me now. She's come to the opening from Watsonville, and her husband happens to be an artist. And Leslie, you've been looking around a little bit at the Rodin sculptures and the entire museum. Reaction?
I think it's a really interesting show. It's a little bit controversial for me because some of the work is ugly to me, but other other pieces of the work are really gorgeous, and I think that it's mostly a really exciting show because it's a historical moment.
And that's kind of what art is all about,
Yeah.
to just bring out different emotions in different people. Thank you for your candor, Leslie, and thanks for coming down tonight. Well, additional exhibitions in the museum include an old masterwork. It's St. Francis venerating the crucifix, fixed by El Greco. An installation by Louis de Soto is here as well, and selections from the museum's permanent collection. And now let's go back down to Doug Moore in the lobby. Doug.
Thank you, Maggie. Well, hanging high above the museum's new entrance, which I can see over here, is a special piece of artwork that was created for the museum by a local San Jose artist. And museum curator Colleen Boydovich introduces us to Tony May. He's not only an artist, but he's an art professor at San Jose State.
Tony May will be creating an installation in the lobby of the new edition. It will be an installation which refers to the history of the building. It will incorporate library books. Many people in San Jose remember the San Jose Museum of Art in an earlier life as a library. I think that most curators of contemporary art share my view that unlike curators that deal in historic material, we have the privilege of having the opportunity in many instances to meet and work with the artists whose work our museums show.
This particular piece was one that was sort of cooking in the back of my mind for a long time because I like to use puns in my work, and I had realized at some point that a piece made with books called a bookmobile was a rather good idea in a bad sort of way, you know, bad pun probably, and so in my memory this building was of course always the library. It's kind of an indeterminate structure. In a way, it's almost like you could say it's like a toy. Having the controls on the piece from which the different books are elevated come out of the windows of the old building seemed like a good thought. I mean, I wasn't sure where I was going to operate it from originally, and then I realized I could operate it from the old building. So it seems to work for me fairly well to link the old building with the new building. So the books are designed so that they can be each individually raised or lowered. And in so doing, the network of pipes that connects them changes shape, and that's really what you notice in the space. So I was sort of doing this piece in a way, I designed it to sort of pay homage to the standard sort of Calder mobile that a lot of museums have hanging in their lobbies.
Well, when we come back, Terry McSweeney's going to show us what happens when kids and art get together in the museum's art school. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We are live at the San Jose Museum of Art on the eve of its grand opening weekend, and it's a wonderful time everyone is having here tonight. If you are making plans to see the museum this grand opening weekend, and we hope you are, you might want to really consider taking the light rail. They're expecting 8,000 to 9,000 people a day, Saturday and Sunday. Now, the museum is located on the corner of Market and San Fernando Streets in downtown San Jose. Terry McSweeney is in one of the main galleries, and let's rejoin him. Terry.
Yeah, as big as this place is, it's not going to hold 8,000 to 9,000 people. You know, so far we've had a glimpse of the cultural, philosophical, and political expression on display and in the surrounding galleries here. But ask any kid involved in the museum's art school program, and you'll learn that self-expression is where the action is. Art education may be close to extinct in our schools, unfortunately, but here at the museum, it is very much alive.
It's stiff. Try this one. Yeah, that one is stiff. Is that good? Look at this color.
Visit one of the classes at the San Jose Museum of Art and you can sense the freedom. The freedom of kids having a great time doing whatever they want with paint, clay, chalk, pencils, and ink. Sure, it's messy fun, just the stuff moms get nervous about at home. But here, self-expression is given a wide-open arena. These Saturday art classes are just a part of the museum's extensive art school program, which in recent years has grown tremendously in the wake of public school cutbacks. Diane Levinson heads the art school and a staff of 19 instructors who share a passionate view of the need for art in education.
Well, it seems so natural to us, but it is something that unfortunately these days we do have to defend to a certain extent just because of the budget cuts. Art is considered a frill and is often one of the first things to get cut. We don't think it's a frill. We think it's an essential part of education. It should be built right into the curriculum, and that it really helps students, especially in this multicultural community that we live in. It really helps them to understand the art and the cultures of other areas. Makes them feel good, builds self-esteem.
Sort of orangey red sky, sort of like the trees, and give us whole pictures of that one desert.
My experience of being in primary school, 1st through 6th grade, is that the kids are so intense about doing art when we come in there, and they work so hard at doing it, and they've got such wonderful expression in what they do, that I feel like it's probably very, very important for them. Just from the standpoint of going to the classroom and seeing kids really work hard to solve the problems that I've created for them.
It just amazes me the freedom that these kids have, the way they come in and they're completely uninhibited and they just attack whatever it is that I give them, and just to watch what comes out. It's beautiful.
The schools have pretty much cut all their art programs. I think, well, we are certainly one of the largest resources in the area filling the void. So we write a lot of grants with the help of some very wonderful people in the building. This is by no means a one-person operation. And we write programs and we get funds that enables us to offer art free of charge to a lot of the kids in San Jose. And right now we're serving 7,500 kids in Santa Clara Valley. 60% of those are with tuition-free art education programs. So what you were experiencing, you came here and you were at our on-site program at the museum. We have 1,400 children going through that program on an annual basis. But our total program is 7,500. So it's getting bigger and bigger every year. We want to serve as many kids as we can.
The museum faculty reaches out to more than 6,000 students annually through off-site art programs in elementary schools and other locations valley-wide. And if popular demand measures success, then the art school program is flourishing.
There's a constant waiting list for schools that would like to have classes and that we just don't have enough funds to send out there. But we also measure success in a whole nother way. Our classes have a ratio of 1 to 15, and we will never change that ratio because we want to offer a quality art education. We just don't want to put somebody out there and teach 35 kids in a classroom. Every classroom teacher knows that is not an ideal situation. So by doing that, we can really get some individual instruction and the kids can come up with some fabulous projects.
Well, the energy is free-spirited, creative, and literally running rampant. So what do you expect from kids on Saturday? But with limited enrollment, each instructor has plenty of breathing room and time to appreciate their own fulfillment.
I like to see them enjoying what they're doing and be proud of it. And I think, that's big enjoyment for me.
Every kid is special. Every kid is neat.
I feel lucky to be able to work with such a quality team and to be doing what we're doing. I mean, it makes me feel, it builds my self-esteem to know that I'm helping other people. So it just works all around.
Joining me now is Marissa Periana. She has checked out the art school exhibit, and she's an artist in her own right, by the way. And Marissa, what do you think of what you've seen up there at the art school exhibit?
Well, it's interesting and it's fun and it's pretty.
Okay, now you're an artist in your own right. What type of art do you do?
I make clay things and then I paint them.
Okay.
And sometimes I draw too at home.
Okay, and I hear that you're an excellent artist, and I thank you for being with us. We also have John David Stewart, who's a little bit taller and a little bit older. And John, you've been up there. What do you think about the art school? You are one of the exhibitors, right?
Yeah, I have one of my pieces up there, and it's just neat to see all the different things that the kids have done, and up in the new part. And, it's amazing how they think of all this stuff.
Okay. Well, it's amazing how you think of what you've done. And thank you very much for being here. And thank you very much, Marissa. And let's right now send it back to Doug and Maggie.
Well, we're going to see more kids and more art when we come back. So stay tuned to the San Jose Museum of Art preview party. And it's coming to you live from downtown San Jose. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the San Jose Museum of Art preview party. This brand new wing is opening up. The official opening is tomorrow. As you can see, a lot going on inside the building tonight, but as Maggie Skira shows us, a lot's going on outside as well. Maggie.
That's true, Doug. I'm going to tell you about something very special now. The San Jose Museum of Art reaches out to the schools in our area with a program called Hands on the Arts. It's a chance for students to learn all about art in an interactive setting. And since it began, over 200,000 youngsters have benefited from the dozens of volunteers who visit the schools every year. We just happened to follow one of those volunteers to a class at Hoover Middle School, and we discovered that the educational process flows in two directions.
You see a color that really jumps out at you in this.
The blood in the water, the red in the water.
Yeah, the red on the belly.
The focus of Let's Look at Art is to bring art to the people and not wait for the people to come to the arts. Let's Look at Art was actually begun as a pilot program by the Junior League, and then when the San Jose Museum of Art formulated officially, the program was turned over to the museum, and it has since then been run by volunteers. Our primary focus has been the 4th and 5th grades. However, we are branching into the primary grades, and we have programs up into the 8th grade. I try to present a variety of art to the students and to teach them the basic elements of art about line, shape, color, and texture, and how to understand the language of the artist. The students are very enthusiastic about art. I've never met a class where they don't get excited about the art and are interested in talking about the pictures and really get involved.
The rest of the painting is so dark and there's no light.
Okay, there's so much darkness. I think that students, children, thoroughly enjoy art of today and the contemporary art. They're much more comfortable with it, and it excites them, and more than adults who tend to be uncomfortable with that art at times. And we particularly are interested in developing their appreciation for that. I think the most satisfying part is just being in the classroom and seeing the enthusiasm of the students and opening them up to a new world, or expanding upon the understanding that those have that already enjoy art.
Those are some very valuable services provided by our museum volunteers. Terry McSweeney, though, has a look now at the lighter side of art education. Terry?
That's right, Maggie. I think it's time for a more childish perspective on all this art stuff. Of course, while kids may be mildly impressed by art in galleries, some of them have plenty to say about their own artistic exploits.
Totem pole. And this is an Indian mask I made, and it's got an anchovy. It's the elder of the Indian who has an anchovy on his tongue. He's trying to spit it out. Not exactly the nicest thing to happen. The lines I did, and especially the clock, because I actually did the right time. And this painting, put a few more colors on it. What I do is I let the colors drip down on it. I'm going to help you. They just kind of drip, and it looks real neat. Finished it yet. Well, the part I'm working on right now is all this part. This part in the showers thing. Well, let's see what this part is. But the one that's finished is this one. That's all I have to say.
Looks like a lot of fun. Of course, you don't have to be a kid to enjoy the museum's art school. There are adult classes in ceramics, watercolor, drawing, and painting. So what if you're not an artist? Well, coming up, we'll show you how you can learn more about art or pick up some opening weekend keepsakes. We'll be right back.
Hello again, everyone. We are back live at the San Jose Museum of Art. Yes, do make plans to visit this weekend during its grand opening, and don't go home empty-handed. The museum gift shop can help you remember your visit.
We've had a gift shop for about 20 years now, and the reason why museums have gift shops, there's lots of different reasons. Number one is to provide earned income for the museum, for the nonprofit institution. Operas have gift shops, etc. Also, a lot of people know the museum because they've been here and they are able to take something home. It's an extension of learning. You come in here, you look at the art, you say, gee, I want to learn more, a little bit more about that, where I'd like to buy a book on art for my child. You can come in here and find that kind of merchandise. Primarily, the bulk of the staffing of the shop is done by volunteers in the community. For the opening, we have a t-shirt that we've produced by internationally renowned artist using her artwork, Barbara Kruger, and it says, "Your body is a battleground." We have specially commissioned a poster by artist Rupert Garcia. Rupert is an associate professor at San Jose State University in the art department. He was also a 1989 National Endowment for the Arts recipient. The theme of the poster has Christopher Columbus on it with an opened palm, which signifies, it's a gesture of friendship. And it also has a desert plant emblazoned on the front of the poster. It's a very, very colorful poster.
The museum gift shop is really a great place for cards, books, or gifts at any time, and you're helping to support the museum as well. Now back downstairs to the main gallery and Terry McSweeney.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm joined by Nyla Rusnell, an artist in her own right, and she has an exhibit in Emeryville this coming weekend. But Nyla, what stands out from this exhibit for you?
I think I'm really impressed with how political most of the work is. In this room in particular, the Leon Golubs are quite impressive.
Okay. And what are some of the things that maybe you come from San Francisco, some of the things that stand out as it might surprise you being here in San Jose?
I guess I'm surprised at how politically daring a lot of the artwork is, and that it seems like there's a real anti-war message here, which I find very impressive.
Okay, super. Nyla Rusnell, best of luck with your exhibit. Maggie, it's back to you.
Well, Terry is back to me, and we're going to be back in just a bit, and we're going to tell you about all the exciting events coming up tomorrow and Sunday. Stay tuned.
Again, everybody, we are back for a final live look at our San Jose Museum grand opening preview.
And you can get a preview tomorrow yourself. The ribbon cutting is at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's open free to the public tomorrow and Sunday.
That's right. Now, Josie Callan tells us about some of the fun things and the festivities planned for this weekend when the museum opens its new doors.
We have a lot planned. Ribbon cutting at 11:30 in the morning on June the 1st. And then both Saturday and Sunday will be kind of an art school open house, and it's called Art in the Round. We're going to use the Fairmont Plaza around the palm trees. And there'll be clowns and balloons and wonderful things for the entire family. Workshops that the art school teachers will be doing. And the Children's Discovery Museum will be here, the Civic Light Opera, the Children's Theater, San Jose Rep. We're going to have representatives for all of these great community groups here. We have San Jose Taiko, lots of musical groups, Brian Ransom. There'll be a lot of really wonderful fun events for the entire family, especially for kids and their parents. It's just really going to be a terrific time. Admission will be free for everybody, and we hope that we're going to sell a lot of memberships that weekend. There are 2,300 members currently, not nearly enough. In this valley, we should have 5,000 to 10,000 members, I think, of this museum. So the average membership is about $50, 10% off at our book and gift store, which is really a wonderful place to shop if you haven't already shopped there. Our art school, $10 off all art classes when we have a fabulous art school, 7,000 students. And mailings, a bi-monthly mailing, frameworks that tells about the museum, preview receptions to exhibitions before the public is able to see them.
And now there is a new benefit included in museum membership, free admission. Beginning June 4th, the general admission will be $4, $2 for seniors and students. Children under 12 and museum members will be admitted free. Thursdays will be reserved as free admission days for everyone.
Going to be very aggressive in our campaigning, and we're certainly hoping that with the new building opening that more people will want to sponsor events and exhibitions and really be part of this. I mean, this is really a wonderful addition to this community, and we're really hoping everyone feels that way too.
And as we said earlier, lots and lots, thousands and thousands of people are expected to take advantage of that free admission this weekend, so plan ahead.
Well, we're going to Terry McSweeney in the lower level gallery one more time. Terry.
Well, thanks very much, Doug. You know, I wanted to give everyone an idea of how much larger the San Jose Museum of Art is now, so I thought I'd take a little walk around. You see exhibits like this on the wall, and it really is thought-provoking. I mean, as Maggie mentioned, some people like it and some people don't like some of the art, but in fact, it does get you to think, and it does give you an emotion, and you look at things like this, and it looks somewhat real. We've all seen things like this. I was wondering if you might have one final comment. Okay. It's freezing up on camera. Doug and Maggie will send it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Terry. And again, remember, tomorrow it's free to the public. Tomorrow and Sunday, so get down here. The ribbon cutting is at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
That's true. As Terry was mentioning, there's a lot of thought-provoking material here, a lot of fun things. The building is absolutely gorgeous. You may have your own ideas on what you like and don't like, and I'm sure the San Jose Museum of Art would appreciate the input from you folks, so don't be shy about it. This is your facility. Please come and make use of it. And be sure to visit the Edition, spend time admiring everything. Tomorrow or Sunday, remember, admission is free this weekend.
And again, the museum will be open Tuesdays through Sunday. It'll be closed on Monday. But it's a great addition to downtown San Jose. And we hope that you've enjoyed this live preview of the museum.
Yes, this has been your live preview. Come out tomorrow and come out for the rest of your lives and enjoy it. Yes, the old post office building is still here, folks. So you still have that to enjoy. But there's so much more that is new and wonderful to celebrate here in San Jose. I hope you'll all come down and visit it a lot.
Good night, everyone. Become a member. It's a good night.
Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.
This special live preview of the San Jose Museum of Art has been brought to you by American Express and American Airlines.